It is time to breathe again on the latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast on YouTube, or streaming live, excuse me, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So you see Patrick Brackett right there with me, Charles Taylor, and we are about to get on this college football preview, or excuse me,
Number
review.
one.
So, so Patrick, as people can tell by your background here, you have you're very, very happy with the results that came from the game of the year there with Tennessee and Georgia.
Just a little bit, yeah.
But besides that one, there are a few other games I'm sure stuck out to you. So, which ones did?
So I had a couple of games, and I got to mention it, dog. About them Longhorns.
Yeah.
Did I call that game, or did I call that game?
Yeah, you got one right. Yeah, you got it.
And I called the LSU game. Which was
It doesn't count. You didn't say it on the game. So it does.
I said it to you. That was it.
That one doesn't count. But
right,
you did say that. You told us that off the air. So
yeah, I
said
I was like, LSU got that one. Dang it. I didn't say it on the air, did I?
You did not, because the Tennessee-Georgia game was your SEC game of the week.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. And it should have been an Alabama-LSU game, because that was a hell of a game, dude.
It was.
Boy, they always deliver, do they not? Alabama and LSU always delivers, man. God.
Okay. Always a good game when those two meet up.
Yeah, and we'll talk about them in just a minute, because that was one of my games that stuck out to me. But obviously the Georgia-Tennessee game stuck out to me. The Texas-Kansas State game stuck out to me. The Alabama-LSU game. The Ohio State and Northwestern game. And then the Notre Dame and Clemson game. Oh, and another one was the where's that? Cal USC game. That was a good game.
Yeah, if California could have got a stop somewhere, yeah, they could have beat USC.
That's all they needed was one. That in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, just get one stop.
It's typical that with me being a Texas fan, of course, as you know, we've seen a lot of Lincoln Riley over the years. It's a typical Lincoln Riley USC team. Can score, can't stop anybody. So that no surprise there. But
Cal played well, minus
they did.
Yeah, I mean they played well in perspective to a non-ranked team, right? But I want to touch on a couple of games, in particular the two SEC games and this Ohio State and Northwestern game. All right. So obviously we've seen the new rankings that came out.
Yeah, we'll talk about those soon.
Yeah. I will say this: for Ohio State to still be in the top 4 doesn't surprise me. But they really need to, this committee really needs to think about what they're rewarding. What are we really rewarding to these teams? Because 7-7 at the half, and Northwestern is playing this team very well, and then to only win 21-7, what is the statement that what is this committee really looking for in where they put these teams? Because my personal opinion, if we're really doing what really needs to be done and looking at this as a whole, and I know we're going to talk about the top here in just a minute, we need to really think about what we're rewarding these boys for, because I haven't seen anything that Ohio State has really done that Michigan hasn't done and done better. So that's my thing about that game. The Alabama LSU game, wow, what a gutsy call by Kelly. Dude, I liked it. I was like, win or lose, that's when you go for it. Right there. That's when you go for it. That's when you say, we're going to win this game or we're going to lose this game right now. Let's go. Gutsy call, especially in overtime. And this is what Brian Kelly came. I mean, it was in his press conference. He even said, "I'm coming to the SEC," and I quote, "I'm coming to the SEC to play Nick Saban." I'm not going to sit here and say that he outcoached, or he the best coach outcoached Nick Saban. What I will say is, for this game, Brian Kelly outcoached Nick Saban.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah.
You can come in there and you can make the right play calls during that moment. That's what's going to put you over the top, or you go down with it, but you stick with the call regardless of what was made. I think looking at that situation in overtime, they couldn't stop Alabama's offense with Bryce Young. So if you get that opportunity to go ahead and close it out, then do it. Yeah. And I'm with you. I love the call. Win or lose, I love that call. And that's what you do as a coach. You have a feel for the game, because that's what you have to do as a coach. It's up to the coach to capture the identity of the game. All the games are different. Does it call to make gambles? Does it call for you to be a little bit more conservative for field position, play field position, lean on your defense or lean on your offense, whichever one? This was one of those calls. And at least he's not running from the competition. That's what we say. Now him twerking on players and the fake accent that he was doing. All right, we could do without that, because
absolutely.
Yeah.
But we can't, because that was so funny.
Okay, for comic relief purposes, yes. We could use it. But the South, all right, so here's the thing with being in the South, for those who don't know, for those who haven't been to the South a lot. The South has an amount of realism that it will bring, and hospitality as well. When you're acting fake, it will get pointed out quickly.
We'll call you on it.
And so Brian Kelly coming down with the fake accent and trying to twerk, that probably wasn't the best way for him to come in and make an impression. And I think somewhere down the line, he said, you know what? Let me just coach. That's what I came here to do. Let me coach. And he's coming through, having those players believe. Think about it, Patrick. LSU actually controls their own destiny. They win out. They are in the SEC championship game. So
it's not easy. They still got Ole Miss.
Huh?
I said it ain't gonna be easy. They still got Ole Miss.
No, they whooped the Ole Miss.
No, already. Alabama has Ole Miss. Who has Ole Miss? Alabama has Ole Miss.
Alabama does. Yeah. Okay. And so, LSU beat them 45-20.
That's right.
So they control their own destiny. I think they have games with Arkansas. They play Arkansas, and then Texas A&M, disaster, mess, tire fire, whatever you want to describe there. And just think about also this before I move on real quick to Clemson and Notre Dame. Wow.
Well, I still got Georgia and Tennessee. I want to go over.
We'll talk about that more in detail too. Yeah, LSU. If Brian Kelly's able to make it to the SEC championship game, that's more in 1 year than Jimbo Fisher has done in 5 years at A&M, and it looks bad in College Station.
And they still paying $10.5 million a year.
I know, right? Clemson and Notre Dame. Notre Dame smashed them. Clemson look bad. I mean, that offense looks anemic. No, me either. So
when I saw that score 20-0,
Notre Dame's playing physical. They got back to running the football. They're playing. They're over there. They're running the ball. I remember when they played Syracuse the week before, they ran for 240 something yards.
Yeah,
and they were just more physical. It's not often you see a Clemson team get out muscled like they did.
It was bad.
It was bad.
And so, they deserve every bit of the 10th rank they got.
All right, Patrick. So real quick, man, we'll have a few minutes for Tennessee and Georgia, and then we got to get to the preview.
This is all I got to say about it. Watching all these stations talking to a couple of my friends, going, man, Tennessee's for real. I agree with them. Tennessee is for real. They still are. I mean, they're an 8-0 or an 8-1 team right now. But this is what I kept getting, and this is from everybody. Can this Georgia defense handle this Tennessee offense? And that's what they kept saying. And I was like, and this is what Georgia hasn't seen this type of offense yet. I was like, no, we have. We saw it last year. No, Georgia hasn't seen this type of offense. I was like, okay, let me ask you a question. And this is what I kept asking. Has Tennessee seen this type of defense? And they're like, oh, that defense won't matter. They only had 10 sacks. I was like, Georgia doesn't have to sack you to win. Georgia wins on many facets of the game. They don't have to sack you. Now, when Hooker comes in, Georgia sees that this is a time that we're going to have to pressure the quarterback. So they do. They got 6 sacks in one game. They're a fast defense. I don't understand why everybody was just disrespecting Georgia's defense and just praising this Tennessee offense like it was the best thing. And I was like, Georgia is where they're at for a reason. I mean, Kirby Smart's not a bad defensive coordinator. I mean, he's pretty good at his job. I mean, he did win 5 national championships for Nick Saban on his defensive skills. Just saying. You know what I mean? But that's what I kept getting. I was like, where's the respect for the Georgia defense that is really pretty dang good? So that was my thing.
Yeah, Patrick, everybody they're blinded by the offense. That's where everybody goes automatically when they're looking at a team now. Everything is geared toward the offense, even when you're playing or watching these games. Everything is geared toward offense. So Tennessee, have a very good offense, but you said it last week. Georgia's the better team.
Yeah.
They have a good offense. You mentioned the defense. The defense was just, it was fundamentally sound. There wasn't a lot of big plays. The one thing that really impressed me with the Georgia defense, and maybe it didn't stick out to me before like it probably should have, the tackling. Their tackling is on point because Tennessee has some one-on-one plays, and Georgia's safeties and linebackers, they made the tackle. I know it sounds like one of those things. Well, of course, Charles, playing football, you're supposed to tackle. Well, a lot of teams don't tackle well. Simply put, they do not.
Notre Dame until last week.
Yeah, but Georgia tackles really well. And also, Patrick, on that note, I am waiting for Jonathan to see if he pops up. Remember all that stuff he was talking with Tennessee last week? Haven't seen him yet. We'll give him till about the half-hour mark to see if he pops in there.
Well, he is coaching. We'll give him that as an outlet, but
man, he'll just show up out of the blue 15 minutes in. So
yeah,
no.
All I can say is, where's that Rocky Top song at now?
So yeah, Georgia made a statement that said, let's remember Georgia is the defending champ. And they're there for a reason, like you said. So we'll get more to those rankings here in a minute. But first, Patrick, I guess it is my turn to pick out our Power 5 conference games of the week. So before we get there, let's look at our updated standings. And here you will see that both of us went 3-2, and we are still tied for the overall ranking. So to break down the games from last week, the Pac-12 game was Oregon State and Washington. That one you got wrong. I got that one right. The Big Ten, we both missed. Michigan State beat Illinois. We both had Illinois.
Oh,
Michigan State.
I was like, where did my second loss come in? That's right.
Yeah. So Michigan State decided to show up. See, this is why I keep the scores, Patrick. I got you. And so the Big 12, that's the one I missed. I didn't have enough faith in my team to say they could get beat by Kansas State. But Patrick finally did. And I don't think Patrick would have done this if he didn't have this bet going on with the SEC. But it's just a win. And so we give him that point. I'm happy to see it. We finally finished the game after jumping out.
Man, that was such an ending too, man. Holy cow. I'm sitting here, I was standing up like I was rooting for Georgia, bro. I was like, oh, yeah, I swear to God, if y'all don't get this sack and you lose this game, I swear to God. And that fumble happened, and I was going, go get it. And then they got it, and I was like, F yeah.
So that one you got right. That evens up the score or the record for last week. And then the ACC game was Wake Forest and NC State. We both had NC State. And, of course, Tennessee and Georgia. We both had Georgia. So 3-2 record for each of us. And we're still tied.
I mean, honestly, let's be completely honest. Does this really surprise you at any point that we're still tied right now?
Nah, we're pretty much kind of neck and neck when it comes to the college games. So the
now, if we were picking NFL, man, I'd totally been blown out.
No, shoot, you beat me.
I doubt it. We probably beat
me up last year when it came to those playoffs, so maybe not.
What'd you say?
I said you beat me up when it came to those playoffs, so maybe not. I missed like the last 8 straight. I had a horrible.
Yeah. You sound like me when I was picking Chicago, or I was going to get Chicago Cubs that year. They won the World Series. I was like, man, I swear to God, if they take a dump on me again, I'm going to be mad. And then they did. And then I picked them, and then they lost.
Yeah.
The next year, I was like, no, we're going to Chicago, and then they lost. I was like, crap.
So yeah. So that's what we have with the records right now. So we'll see where we stand after this week's picks. So, Patrick, let's jump right to it. The game that I have for the Pac-12 is Washington at Oregon. So, both of these teams ranked. Washington broke through. They're now ranked in the top 25. Oregon, as we will discuss later on a little bit, they moved up to number 6 in the rankings. Game is in Autzen Stadium in Eugene on Oregon's campus. Who do you have winning that game?
Have we found out where college game day is going to be at? They're at TCU this week, aren't they?
No, they're in Austin. They're in Austin for
the TCU game. Yeah. Okay. So they are there. All right. Oh, they're playing at Texas. That's right. Texas has the home. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So Washington and Oregon. Look, Washington had a big win last week, and I didn't pick that. But I'm going to tell you, man. Look. Ever since that loss that they took to Georgia, everybody is. I've heard a lot of people, man, they shouldn't have picked Georgia as that week one. Man, I'm going to tell you, I don't think this would be the same team without that loss to Georgia. This team found something, and whatever they found, they have been dominant. Now, I get it; it's Pac-12 play, but the domination is just it's next level. I'm gonna go Oregon. And honestly, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't say Oregon big. I got Oregon winning. We'll say Oregon 35-17.
All right. Yeah, I have Oregon too, especially with them playing there in Eugene. So Washington, they can score. I think the points might be up there a little bit. But just like what we were saying with Georgia and Tennessee last week, with Georgia having the better team than Tennessee, it's the same thing. I think Oregon just has the better team here. I guess it's not too much of a difference from your score. I got 38-24 for Oregon. I just think they'll be able to control the clock, and their defense is good enough to where they can force some turnovers and make it tough on Washington's quarterback, the lefty there, Michael Penix. He's a good quarterback, but yeah, I think this Oregon defense probably has something for him. So
I like your score, man. I really do. But I'm gonna tell you right now, my pick is the outright pick, man. I'm telling you, I'm hitting it. I'm hitting this one. This will be my game I hit. Oregon. 35-17. Mark it.
Well, I'll be right there with
19 minutes and 48 seconds. Oregon, go ahead and put that dub on me on that one because that's
well, I'll be right there with you, Patrick. So it's all right. All right, let's go to the Big Ten. I don't even know what game. You know what? Live editing here. This is what we're gonna do, Patrick. We're gonna leave the Big Ten alone because there isn't really a game there. I mean, you got Nebraska at Michigan, you got Indiana at Ohio State. I guess maybe Purdue and Illinois. But
that would have probably been the game. That would have been my pick.
Yeah.
For the week, but I mean, even then.
So
I mean, it's almost a give me point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're gonna spice this one up. So instead of keeping it in all 5 of the conference, we'll get the Big Ten out of there, and we will go to the AAC and look at Central Florida at Tulane. So, so let's go to that. Let's go down there. Let's go to the AAC and look at Central Florida and Tulane. And I was going back and forth with this one because this is one of those games, Patrick. You know, nobody's been talking about them because it isn't the Power 5. But both of these teams quietly have had pretty good seasons, and the winner of this game has an inside track on winning the AAC altogether. So Tulane has 1 loss, Central Florida has 2. One of those losses was to Louisville, I think, outside of conference. I was going back and forth with this one. Tulane has been playing some good ball. I mean, because Tulane has to win. They went to Kansas State and beat the Wildcats there too. Mm-hmm. Central Florida's been playing good too, man. I think I'm gonna go Central Florida here. It's going to be very close though. I got a 34-31 score. I think it's gonna be close. I would not be surprised to see Tulane win this game, but I think Central Florida has a little bit more athleticism there. So I'm gonna go Central Florida 34.
Okay.
You all right?
Where are they playing at?
They are playing in Tulane.
Man, that Tulane offense, dude.
They're good.
I mean, look at what they did last week, man. Say yours again.
I got
Central Florida 34-31?
34-31, yes.
Dang, the live editing. This is good. This is gonna be a good game, man. Okay, I'm gonna go Tulane. And I'm not doing this because you went Central Florida because that's a good pick, man. Central Florida's offense can score. Their defense is pretty dang good. But Tulane's offense, man, it just fires on all cylinders, dude. And they're playing in Tulane. I really like your score. Almost want to say your same exact score, but I'm gonna go Tulane 37-31.
Tulane 37-31.
Yep.
All right. Now,
I
almost picked Tulane myself, man, because I was just going back and forth. Because I've seen Tulane and Central Florida play, I think twice each. I've seen them play. I caught the UCF games against Louisville and Cincinnati. Caught a good bit of those. And the Tulane games I saw when they played Kansas State, and then I think they had a Friday nighter in Houston, and they were able to pull that game out in overtime. Both teams kind of scrappy, and this is for the top spot here in the American Athletic Conference. So a lot at stake. And yeah, man. I just said I'll go ahead.
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good, man. I like my pick. Man, those offenses, man, that's going to be a hell of a game, dude. Ooh,
yeah,
man,
underrated game.
Very underrated.
One of the good games of the week, really. Like both those.
That might be the game of the week. My personal opinion. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's some good ones. That Alabama game is going to be pretty good. But man, Central Florida and Tulane, man, that's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a hell of a game.
All right, Patrick. So there's that wild card. all right, so now we can get back on schedule, and we'll go to the Big 12. And yeah, man, we talked about it a little bit already. TCU and Texas College Game Day will be in Austin for this. So I am looking at this game, and I saw the line. The line was interesting. Texas, from what I saw, I think they're a 6 or 7 point favorite to win this game.
I'm looking it up right now to see we'll see if I can pull the lines real quick.
Yeah, I think it's 6 or 7, one or the other. But yeah, look, Texas. I'm just gonna say this: we're Texas. We have athletes. It's never been an issue of having the athletes and the players there. It's always been a matter of us finishing. And after jumping out to that big lead against Kansas State, I was scared because we've been blowing leads, and I didn't know that we were going to be able to hold the lead. But we got that defensive touchdown, and I was like, yes, we finally held on. I think Texas. I think we can handle TCU. I do. I think TCU has been kind of getting by, kind of skating by a little bit, and they've had some big victories. Nothing against the victories they have had, but I think they're running into a buzzsaw. So I'm gonna pick us. I got us winning. I think we can run the ball well with Bijan Robinson, and we can get down the field on them. Of course, it's always scary if we do jump out to a lead because of us not being able to hold the leads. But I want to say we learned something from last week's game, being able to finish there in Kansas State. So I got us winning. I think we can win by 10 points. I think we can get a solid 37-27 score.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This is my worry, because Texas does jump out to an early lead. And 9 times this year, TCU has played from behind.
Yeah.
This is what scares me right here. It's not just Texas that has a problem with finishing. It is everybody that's having a problem with finishing with TCU. I don't know what it is. I don't know what Max Dugan is doing, but that kid is throwing all over the field. I mean, he's got like almost 25, 26 touchdowns. I mean, I don't know what the hell he's doing out there, but he it's like that third quarter, TCU just owns it, and then they just flow for the rest of the game. That third and fourth quarter has always been just TCU. Man, as much as I want to go Texas, dude. Texas playing from behind. A lot of times they have a problem with finishing. TCU coming in, able to finish. You know where my heart's at. You know where my heart's at for this Texas team. I want them to win because it just makes my arguments so much stronger. When I tell everybody they're SEC ready before Oklahoma is. I knew you were going to pick this game, and I have been fighting with it for 3 freaking days, man, and I still struggle with it. You know what? I'm going to go with you. I'm riding this Texas train, man. They're freaking, they have all the talent in the world. And if they could just make Robinson just run the freaking ball, you can run on this TCU team. You can. They do not have the run defense that most teams have in the Big 12, and you can run on this team. And that just means is just going to have to suck it up and not be the hero. I'm going Robinson hitting over 200 rushing yards this game. I'm going to go with you, man. Texas. But it's going to be close, man. I'm going to go Texas. Texas 35-34.
1 point win. Yeah, the thing is, man, like TCU's defense is leaky. Now they can get stops when they have to have them, but if you can keep from turning the ball over or doing what Texas Tech's coach did, going for it on all the fourth downs in the world in their own territory, then you can score on TCU. You just have to make sure when it comes to Max Duggan that you could keep them in the pocket, get that pressure up the middle. And I think Texas has the people to be able to do that consistently enough. Kind of like what they did to Adrian Martinez last week. I think they can kind of do the same thing there. And I think Texas can win solidly. It's at 37-27, and I'm here. I'm with them.
Bro, and this is, when I tell you 35-34, I'm talking like Texas has a 35-10 lead. and TCU just runs out of time, and I think Texas holds on with that because I mean, look, you like you said, you contain Max Dugan, whatever how you say his name. You contain him, and you contain Miller, and you stop Miller from running. That leaves Johnson, and Texas can take that away. Texas has good corners. Yeah, and they got a great secondary. So you take Johnson away, TCU really doesn't have much on a wide receiving standpoint after that. So that means they're going to have to be. I think Texas can make them very one-dimensional. I think they could, and I'm going to go with you. Let's do it, Texas, all the way.
All right. Yep. And with that win over Kansas State, Texas has the inside track for that second spot. And so this is possible. And so it's possible this could be a rematch in the championship game. So we'll see. Let's go over to the ACC. So the schedule's a little interesting in the ACC. I decided to go with North Carolina. Well, we did North Carolina last week. We did North Carolina the week before. Yeah,
North Carolina's one of the best teams in the ACC. Might as well run with them.
I know, man. It's crazy. Okay, never mind. Yeah, because we did NC State. We did NC State and Wake Forest last week. All right, so Wake Forest went on there. You know what? Let's go.
Duke, Florida State, and Syracuse.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too. I was going back and forth between those two games because Florida State and Syracuse can be interesting as well. You know what? Nah, we'll stick with it. We'll stick with North Carolina and Wake Forest. So this game is there in Wake Forest. We know Wake Forest can score. Defense struggles. North Carolina's defense struggles too. So it's really just a matter of who has the ball last. Oh, excuse me. I like North Carolina's quarterback. Drake May is playing some really good ball. And I think they will be able to keep this hot streak going against Wake Forest. I do think it'll be pretty high scoring. I think last year when they played, the score was 58-51, Patrick. 58-51.
Yeah. They over under, dude.
I know, right?
I think the over under was
all
like
day.
I think it was like 60 and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hitting that over all day, dude. By the way, what was the point spread for Texas and TCU? I know you was looking at that. What was the point spread?
6.
It is 6.
Like 6.5. I think it's still 6.5
for Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that? So that
obviously it's going to.
Like how interesting is that? That Texas is a 6-point favorite in that game.
It's funny. But after they beat Kansas State, dude, they look different in that game. They look different. They look prepared. they look like they were ready. And man, let me tell you, hey, shout out to that defense at Texas, man. They were digging deep. They dug deep for that last push to get that fumble, man. They dug deep. You could see it on their face. They were exhausted. They were worn out. And you can see Stark going, come on, baby, just give me one more play. You could see it. They were done. And they dug deep, man. I mean, you can see that it really tells you, man, a lot about the heart. You can have all the talent in the world, man, all the talent in the world. If you ain't got heart, it's hard to win. And that Texas team showed some heart and went and got that job done. So shout out to that Texas defense, man, for doing that. They had a lot of heart on that last play.
They did. Very impressed with them finally able to finish. But going back to this game with North Carolina Wake Forest, I do have North Carolina 48-41 is my final score.
So, all right. It's crazy because I think Wake Forest actually has. I think Wake Forest is actually the favorite to win this game, which kind of surprises me because like I look at Wake Forest and they're playing at home, and I get it and I understand, but I mean, and Wake Forest is a good team. They are. They've showed signs where they can struggle, right? This North Carolina team, on the other hand, has struggled. But they are so good with the adjustments, man. They are so good with the adjustment. And I'm not talking like halftime adjustments. I'm talking about mid-game adjustments. One of the reasons why I think they're as successful as they really are this year. I do agree with you. I am going to go North Carolina. And the biggest reason why is because of Drake May. Is he now the favorite for Heisman?
He's up there. I don't know who's the favorite. I mean, I guess it's between Hooker and Stroud.
Yeah, I would stick with Hooker. Because what he does not change the fact that man has done what he has done. I mean, if it wasn't for him making some plays that he has made to these wide receivers, I don't think Tennessee's in the spot where they're at. And they're a great team. They are a great team. Georgia obviously made some. Showed some holes, but this dude Drake, man, he's for real, dude. He is for real. If he's not one of the first quarterbacks to go when he enters the draft, I don't know who would be. This kid can play, and I got him. I got North Carolina just because of him. I mean, what does he leads his team in passing. He leads his team in rushing. It wouldn't surprise me if he leads his team in receiving. The kid can do it all. I mean, flat out do it all. I'm gonna go North Carolina. And what'd you say your score was?
48-41.
Okay, I like North Carolina, but I think they handle business. I don't think this is no 48-41. I'm gonna go 55. I'm gonna go 52-30. I think they handle business.
All right,
I think Drake May handles business in this game.
All right, man. We gotta get to the SEC and we gotta be a little bit quick because we do have some other things to get into. So
Okay.
We'll take the Alabama Ole Miss game. We know Alabama is coming off that loss against LSU, very tough loss in overtime, and Ole Miss had a bye week. Let's see, they're playing in Oxford. Alabama. So you know how normally you could sit there and you could look at Alabama, they have a loss, and you're like, they're gonna recover, they'll be okay. That loss looked like it hurt against LSU the other night, and I don't know how they're gonna recover from it necessarily because that loss pretty much knocked them out of contention. Now the rankings say differently because I mean they're still sitting there at number 9, I think. Hadn't looked at the rankings past the top 6. Okay, but I mean LSU look that with them having control of their own destiny. Alabama looks very bleak for them to get to a SEC championship game this year. I kind of like Ole Miss here. I think Ole Miss can kind of keep them on the downward spiral here. And now I do think it'll be close. Alabama will show up. They will have them ready to play. But I just think Alabama is they're just uneven this year. So I got Ole Miss winning this game. I think it'll be pretty close. I'll go 30 27.
Good score, man. Good score. I like it. In the past, man, I've always said I do not want to be the team that plays Alabama after a loss. This year, I can't say that. This year, I'll say that to Tennessee. I do not want to be the team that has to deal with Tennessee after a loss, because in the past 2 years, Tennessee is 60 on the next team that they play, right? Alabama ain't doing it. And as good as I feel Alabama will be next year, they got to do some recruiting. And I don't know. There's a lot of things I see about Nick Saban, and I'm like, dude, you wouldn't have made that call 5 years ago, 4 years ago. You know, I'm gonna agree with you. I think Lane kicked in and takes care of business too. I like your score, 37.
Yeah, 30-27.
About 31 Ole Miss.
You said 35-31?
Yep.
All right, good score. I like that score too. Alabama just looks a little uneven, man, and it's not by a whole bunch. Just a play here, play there, but those are plays. Those are big. Those are plays that you expect Alabama to make, but they've been just really undisciplined, especially on defense this year, and
especially on the road. That's what scares me the most. I mean, these 2 losses that Alabama has had, total of 4 points. Total 4 points. That's it. Tennessee by 1. They're a good team. They are. And pros on this team. I do. I think Lane Kiffin becomes prepared and throws the crap out of this ball. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Ole Miss throws it 50 times plus.
Well, all right, Patrick. Let's jump into these rankings real quick. So we had mentioned them throughout the webcast, but you have Georgia, of course, moving up to number 1. Ohio State's number 2. Michigan's number 3. TCU is in there at number 4, with 5th being Tennessee and 6th being Oregon. So, I mean, you know how we feel about it. The rankings are the rankings. Georgia, the winner of the Georgia-Tennessee game was going to be number 1 anyway. And I'm with you with Ohio State. Just seems like they just want to keep Ohio State up there. Like I said, it'll work itself out, as we always say, but it does seem like there's a little bit of a bias toward Ohio State there, because they didn't look good at all against Northwestern, a 1-win Northwestern team. And of course they're like, oh well, the weather was bad and blah blah. No. Said Ohio State's offense is explosive. They can score on anybody, right? That's what the chairman of the committee said. They scored 21 points. Nah. I mean, I guess
I don't know what they're looking at. I just don't know what the committee's looking at.
Well, Patrick, here's the thing. Well, the committee they don't know what they're looking at. So that's the thing.
Okay, so there's the problem right there.
Yeah. Because the inconsistency. The inconsistency of it all, because they're going to value one thing more in 1 week than they do the next week. That's just how they've been. That's how they operated, and this is no different. No different from this year. It's from other years. So you just take it for what it is. Entertainment. This is entertainment. This is for getting people to talk purposes. I mean, hey, we're talking about it over here, so I guess they're doing their job. But if they're going to do this, then hey, they understand what comes with it when they're over here, I guess, trying to make these decisions. I would love to have the job where I could come down to a nice fancy hotel and just watch football games all day. But
Google, Shout out.
Yeah.
Come on now. Give us what we need. College. Google.
Well, look, Georgia. One thing I think we could take from this is Georgia. I think they have their spot in the college football committee as long as they sit there and win their games. Yeah, just win their games. Even if they were to lose in the SEC championship game, I think they're in there. They're in there regardless. And then we'll see what happens with these other teams. But interesting, the Pac-12 winner looks very good to take one of those spots now, especially if it is Oregon. So,
oh yeah, and I would definitely have to think about that because they're only if business for one ranked team. You know what I mean? And that's per se in that Georgia wins the SEC because I'd be the number one ranked team. LSU, they look going to. But what's interesting is back on the Ohio State is like I don't understand how Ohio State is a Michigan. And Michigan plays the same exact teams. Ohio State has struggled with every one of them. I'm just saying. This is where I'm wondering what the committee because Ohio State and Michigan have played the tag teams. Ohio with them, Michigan has dominated them. Yet Ohio State, come on, like you said, work itself out. I get that. I agree with that, but other than Ohio State. I mean, my personal opinion, I feel the ranking should have been Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Tennessee. But what do
well, all right, Patrick. Well, we gotta get in here. We gotta get into some NFL action real quick. What games caught your eye?
Philly staying undefeated. Wow, man, they just keep playing good football, man. I mean, just keep playing good football. The hard game for the Chargers over the Falcons. That was a good game. The sheer domination of Cincinnati over Carolina. I mean, that was just dominant. Well, the New England put a pretty dominant performance on the Colts as well.
What a train wreck! What a train wreck the Colts are. Ugh.
I know, right? Oh, but Matt Ryan's going to change everything about the Colts. Good luck with that. And he's not even starting for you now. So, Buffalo getting beat by the Jets. Jets played really good in that game. Very, very disciplined football.
Hey, Patrick, the Jets are 6-3, man. I mean, the Jets have a good squad now, man. Like, I don't think
they're good. They're good. A lot more I can say for that Green Bay Packer team. Train wreck. Shout out to Jacksonville for beating the Raiders, but who hasn't? You know what I
mean? For Raiders, a train wreck too.
Good game. Tennessee and Kansas City. That was a good game. And hell of a game for Tampa Bay to beat the Rams as well.
Yeah, able to get a come from behind vintage Tom Brady drive at the end there to pull that game out.
The horse went through.
So, what games catch your eye? What games catch your eye for this week?
Let me pull up the schedule real quick. I think a really good one is going to be that Minnesota Buffalo game. That's going to be really good.
So, real quick about that one, I still haven't seen anything with Josh Allen. They were looking at his elbow. His elbow got kind of wrecked on a sack. One of the Jets linemen hit him at the end of the game, and they're saying maybe it's one of those like what the pitchers get, kind of like one of those things close to Tommy John surgery or anything like that. So they're just kind of looking at it to see where it's going to be if he's going to miss some time. So I don't know if they don't know if he's going to play. Allen felt he would be okay, so we'll see. But yeah, that does look like to be a good game there between the Vikings and Bills.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard pressed, man, for Allen to. He's such a beast, man. And it's like, I don't care if I'm playing with broken arms, I'm still gonna go out and play. You know what I mean? Crazy, dude. The man is crazy. The way I watch him take on, he's like a running back, bro. He doesn't slide. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He lowers his shoulder and hits. I'm like, get down. I need you to be able to throw. And you're sitting here throwing punches, bro. Come on, man. Calm down. Get down. Jeez. But I'm yelling at him all the time like that, and I know he can't hear me, but still,
right.
No, dude, stop it throwing dang shoulders. He gets up and just, with a smile on his face, like he loves you. You know, this is what makes me like Josh Allen even much more, is the fact that when he's out there on that field, man, winning or losing, dude, he's got a smile on his face. He enjoys his job. You could see the love of football on that man's face, and that's what makes it fun for me to watch him. You can just see the love for football. So I'm hoping he's out there. I'm hoping he's ready to go. I don't want him to go out there with any injuries, but I'm hoping he's ready to go and play. Mm-hmm. So Minnesota Buffalo, the I think that's the only game. Interestingly, yeah, Philly looks like they might stay undefeated. Yeah, man, it's about the only game. I mean, we got the Battle of the Sucks next week. The Raiders and the
Raiders and the Colts.
But other than that.
Yeah, the schedule does not look that great, but you know how it is in the NFL. It just kind of rises up, and there could be a lot of. I mean, I don't even know if you really want to call them upsets at this point. I mean, because
I don't know what to call them. Hardly anybody's above 500.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of parity in the league. I mean, the Chargers play the 49ers on Sunday night. I think that'll be a pretty good one. I think we should be able to handle the Chargers, though.
You should.
You got the Browns playing the Dolphins, the Saints playing the Steelers, Cardinals playing the Rams. I mean, what it looks like there's a lot. The Seahawks and Bucks could be interesting over in they're playing in Germany on Sunday.
Oh, the first Munich game.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So that one could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the teams are just really, really paired up with each other, and I don't even know if you would call them really upsets at this point. But the Jaguars, the Jacksonville's in Kansas City this weekend. Looks like Kansas City should blow them out. I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville was able to hang with Kansas City for a little bit. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Wouldn't surprise me if Jacksonville wins.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, Kansas City's 6-2, but they haven't really dominated.
No, and that's the thing. Nobody is standing out as this dominant team, like it's them and everybody else. There's a host.
There's one team. There's one team.
Record-wise, but what do you expect on the Eagles, though?
I'm expecting them to take a loss here pretty soon, but it's not going to be this week.
Well, so I'll put it this way, Patrick. Would you look at the Eagles and say they are far and away better than everybody else? Even though I get their record. I get they're undefeated. No. Okay, so there we go.
I mean, far away from most teams, yeah. But I mean, I still would say Buffalo is definitely a team that can contend with them. I'd say Kansas City can contend with them. Miami could probably contend with them. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, Baltimore could contend with them, and Lamar Jackson, great.
Hey, I'll say this, and maybe you could call me biased here, but again, the 49ers, especially with getting McCaffrey in there with them, if If
They gotten dangerous with McCaffrey.
If we're able to stay healthy, and look, it won't bother us to go on the road to win games. We did that last year. It will not bother us to have to go on the road to win. I mean, we went to Dallas and Green Bay and beat them last year. If we got to go to Philly, or if we got to go to Minnesota, we ain't scared to go there. It's
you already did Dallas and Green Bay. Those are hardest places to play.
Well, not Dallas. Dallas,
but Green Bay.
They there to party. Ain't no home field advantage. Like it's just.
I don't have time to have a bad time.
What's crazy is you could put 90-something thousand in that stadium, and when the Cowboys are on defense, you can still hear a pin drop. I'm like, what are y'all here for? Y'all obviously aren't here to watch the Cowboys. Y'all are here to party.
You're here for Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones paid him.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones was like, hey, come watch the game. I'm good. I'll give you $100 and the ticket. Yeah, okay, I'll be there. So, leave it half.
So Patrick, here we are in the NFL. It's the halfway point. So you went through 9 weeks. I mean, I think we're pretty well, like in the AFC, looking at all of our projections and our predictions that we had, we're still looking pretty good here. We have Buffalo, Baltimore, Tennessee, and Kansas City winning the divisions. All 4 of those teams are on top of their divisions right now. Yep. And then there are wild cards. I think we agreed on these. I think it was, the Raiders ain't looking good. But the Bengals and the Patriots, they're still in the hunt.
Yeah. Now, I cannot believe the Patriots are dead last and still in the hunt.
Yeah. And then in the NFC, now that's kind of a different story. We got the Eagles right now. We both said the Eagles will win the NFC East. They're looking good right now. The North, we are wrong there. We had the Packers, and the Packers.
And the Vikings are up by 4 games.
Yeah. Packers are dumpster fire right now. I'm gonna say we are still in the running in the NFC South because all the teams are still in the running in the NFC South.
Well, we both picked the Bucks. Well, we both picked the Bucks, and the Bucks have the head-to-head against the Falcons, so the Bucks are in one.
So the Bucks are there, but I know we didn't have Seattle. I know we didn't.
Who would have thought Geno Smith was going to do what he did? Holy crap! He's like the best quarterback in the league right now.
He is playing like a top 3 or 4 quarterback there. I mean, I don't know if he's playing better.
Josh Allen. Never mind. Josh Allen.
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is playing like a really good quarterback.
Right, top 5. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and then our wild cards. Ooh, I like the wild. So we had the Rams. Well, actually, no, we had the 49ers. As one of the wild cards. And was it the Saints or Panthers? One or the other one?
I had the Cowboys. We'll have to go back and look. I think we only disagreed on one team.
Yeah, we disagreed on one team, and I think it was one of the wild card ones. So,
yeah, it was a wild card. I don't think I had the Panthers.
Yeah.
We had the Giants. I think we had the Giants, dude.
Yeah, we might have, dude.
Guys, we will go back and watch it and bring back our picks for next week. We'll do it.
Like, I mean, because I was just going off the top of my head with all of them. So I mean, I know. So I know that was the one thing we disagreed. It was one of the wild card teams, but I know we had all the same division winners.
All the same division winners, and we have the same freaking Super Bowl.
Yeah. Wild, dude. Wild. So before we get out, Patrick, we have to congratulate the Houston Astros for winning the World Series with the Philadelphia Phillies away in 6 games. And I mean, they were dominant. They were dominant throughout the year. The better team won. Now, look, you give it to Philly. Philly went on a magical run there, but at the end, the Astros pitching, man, just showed through.
I will tell you this, man. That was a really good World Series, and shout out to Philly for putting together an epic run to get to the World Series. It was phenomenal watching them play. but Game 5, 4, whichever one that the Astros shut out Philly with a no-hitter.
Yeah, it's Game 4.
Game 4. Okay, that was the dagger. That was the dagger, and I think that's when Houston's pitching was like, we got this, and we're gonna put a dagger in, and they did, and that was the game. And that was the turning point with that Game 4. That was phenomenal pitching by Houston. But you're right, that pitching was phenomenal all games. I mean, it even took late game heroics for Philly to win Game 1. You know what I mean? So yeah, shout out to Houston and congratulations to a World Series. Well earned. Good job.
Very happy for Dusty Baker, who's been managing for a long, long time. For him to get that elusive World Series title was good. Very good to see. And for the Astros as a whole, because they've been dragged. We talked about it, Patrick. They've been dragged because of the sign stealing scandal back in 2017. And yet they continuously get back to this level, and they finally broke through. So, again, I just asked the people who want to continue to hate on the Astros, what are you gonna say? Like, I mean, at some point, again, skill. They have skill.
Mm-hmm.
The Astros have good players. They have a very good farm system, which also says they won't be going away for a while. With all that talent there, they're still gonna be there. So there's a potential they can get on back to the World Series, if not win another one. Now, as we know, it's hard to repeat. It is hard to repeat.
You got a target on your back now.
Yeah. But the Astros, they've been playing with that target on their back for years now, especially after that sign stealing scandal. Man, we can't stand the Astros. These dudes are hardened, man. I mean, they're especially Altuve and Bregman, because they were the main ones who were on that team that did get the sign steal.
And they're still there. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a hard, like you said, it's hard to repeat, and it's hard to repeat in any sport. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, because it's just hard. You have to be on top of your game at all points, and Houston has done that. And to me, this is a well-deserved World Series for them to win. They played against a very good Philadelphia Phillies team. They did, and that Phillies team was scrappy as hell. And that Game 4, that was the dagger, man. That flipped everything upside down and was able to put them away. Game 4, 5, and 6. That was all it took. So,
hey Patrick, before we get out, you have some shout outs.
Yeah, I got a shout out. Congratulations to all of the women's soccer teams that made it to the tournament. There's 64 teams that made it. But I did want to shout out to the Power 5 conferences with their wins, because those were top-ranked teams to have to beat for these teams to make it into this tournament for their automatic bid. But I wanted to give a shout-out to Penn State, West Virginia, Stanford, South Carolina, and where's the other one? Florida State, for all of them winning their power to win their conference championships, and a special one to that South Carolina soccer team for the SEC having to beat an Alabama team that was just freaking stellar all season. They only lost one game throughout the entire season, and to lose one game in soccer, you have to play. But shout out to that South Carolina team. They also played in Pensacola. Woo!
All right, and I had a quick little shout out before we get. So Friday's Veterans Day, and I go in and I just think about it, just looking at our days, yours and my days, Patrick, when we were in the military. And I get thinking, I'm like, look, when we were in the military, things didn't necessarily end the best for us while we were in there. Now, look, if you want the backstory, just y'all can ask me and I'll tell y'all what happened. But
no problem.
Yeah, but
leave your comments. I'll tell you.
But if it wasn't for the military, as much as we had a issue with some of the things that went on in the military, If it wasn't for the military, I wouldn't got to meet people like you. And so for the good people that we have met through the military and stuff, I mean, we still kind of have that camaraderie that kind of comes with some of those people that you've gotten to meet over time. And you, Patrick, are definitely one of those guys. So definitely a shout out to you, and shout out to all the other guys and gals who have served, will serve, are serving now. Enjoy the Veterans Day, and I'm just happy. I'm just happy that I was able to meet you through the military. So I always go ahead and put that in there. But with it being Veterans Day coming up on Friday, I wanted to get that out there for everybody.
Absolutely. Shout out to all those people. Thank you for all your service and your time in. And shout out to your significant others, because they have to do the battle as well. So shout out to them as well. And absolutely, if it wasn't for the military, I would have never met Charles. And it's been a fun ride the whole time, man. I've enjoyed it. So absolutely.
And we still riding. Ride together, we die together, right? That's what's up. Well, all right, y'all. Everybody take care. That will conclude this Breath of Fresh Air webcast, or the latest edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Enjoy the games coming up in NFL, and well, okay, baseball is over, but you got college basketball. They done started up this week too, so a lot of stuff going on still. Everybody enjoy the games. Take care. We will see y'all next week. And once again, happy Veterans Day to all the vets and all the people who are serving in the military now. Y'all take care.